Hey, how's it going, everybody? Lawler here with more roster information for you guys that's been coming out over the last few weeks, and a lot of it actually stems from a pretty unique scenario. For those unfamiliar, on Rocket Baguette, one of the French RLCS broadcasts, one of their casters by the name is Life is Cool has been doing a lot of interviews with French players like Seiko that have basically been providing a lot of information. The difficulty is a lot of us don't speak French, but there is a Redditor in the past by the name of Bad Apprehensive that has been posting the translations of a lot of those VODs and providing a lot of insight. If you guys haven't seen the Reddit article, I will link it down below, but it does go over basically a transcript and a summary of a lot of the conversations that have been said about things that are going on in the scene. The reason why I bring this up is a lot of this has actually provided insight into things that are happening with roster changes. And just to clarify for most of you, if you have a top 5 team in EU that you like a lot, likely that's going to change. Expect a lot of changes as all these teams during the trade window are trying to make final steps to make them as successful as possible when it comes to the final push for the spring split and the World Championship, because this is the last change that can happen this year. First one that we're talking about comes with the Mike Wazowski post and picture that is iconic in the space. It looks like that both Mark by 8 and Kale, their coach, are going to be let go. G1, who makes the major, has their first debut, and now the veteran player is being let go. And there's been some reactions to that. First one being CRR having some reactions to it. And Sazin, who we just mentioned with Vitality going through his situation, increasing his own personal stock, alluding to, hey, 2 Spanish players and a French player looks pretty good. So whether it will be Atomic Dorito and Sazin or not, we will have to wait and see. Sazin, I'm going to still debate on what it is for the longest time. It will be very interesting to see on how those things go. What that means for Mark, I do not know. What that means for Kale, I also don't know. I have it on good authority that the players really enjoy Kale as a manager, so maybe he will stay on as a manager and they will find a different coach. What happens with G1, we will have to wait and see. The original rumor does come from Shift, obviously, on the 14th of this month, but a few days later, you see Seiko and others also mentioning and talking about it. So, rumor potentially, but looking more and more solidified as fact. This has been one that has been pushed by numerous sources, so very likely that we're going to see some changes. Whether it will be this final roster with Sazin or not, we'll have to wait and see, but that's what we have initially. Up next, another report from Shift talking about rumors. There's been some already going around about how Moist is looking to change in some capacity, with Astral out, bringing in somebody else new alongside Juicy and Joyo. Conversations have been between Oli and now Cash. Very likely it's looking that it is going to be Cash, primarily a bit more defensive, happy to kind of go for the counterattacks and the flip resets and stuff like that, and allows Juicy to be a bit more offensive and kind of follow what his natural playstyle is along with Joyo. I think realistically it actually could be really, really solid for them, but if it will end up playing out and being as successful as we'd hope it to be, we will have to wait and see. Unfortunately, no SteelSeries Cup tournament for Europe. But I would love to see these rosters in action to see what we get. Talked about Tundra recently and how all 3 of their players have kind of gone their separate ways. And the one that is getting the most love, as I mentioned, is Raziers, who is looking to complete the roster for Sonics. We did get confirmation that Arju was let go quite a bit ago, and they've been trialing some new players. And with the recent announcement of Tundra kind of disbanding and doing their own thing, it does look like it could be a positive impact. I mean, you're talking Smokes has been showcasing that he is getting better and better. Matane, who's been here for a while, when he's consistent, when he's on, looks great. So why not add some offensive firepower and some mechanics? Could be potentially good. We did see during the offseason and during kind of those breaks how Sonics was actually really competitive, but they were just shy of that consistency. Maybe this is the difference maker that makes them kind of get that chance to really fight for a major spot. And last but not least, the one that we thought was safe. Team Liquid, slowly ascending. Top 4, looking great. Just kidding. Why not get rid of a Chronic? This one is not official. This one is rumored as well. I've been hearing a lot of things and whispers from behind the scenes about how Rise is trying out. Like Oxygen is no longer safe. They're possibly looking for a new player. Rise is trying out with like BDS and stuff due to the conversations that Seiko was having. So who he goes for on that, which will then cause a trickle effect. If he ends up going for Extra, where does Extra go? What does that look like? There's a lot of moving parts, but Chronic does reply to a tweet talking about how he was kind of in his feels, or how he's frustrated about stuff, and hey, a lot of things are going on, and he just doesn't deny it. So Very likely that Team Liquid is making a change. A Chronic out, who they bring in if it is Rise. I've heard Rise trying for BDS and Liquid. Oxygen, that leaves an open spot. What does that mean for them? There's some wild stuff going on. Potentially Astral going and fulfilling that spot. A lot of moving parts. And we still don't know where Oli's going. Again, Oli was like the hottest free agent coming into this. And now he's just... all these other teams are... I feel bad for the kid. Either way, wild stuff across the board. That life is cool. If you can speak French, I highly recommend tuning into and listening to some of those interviews. But hopefully we keep getting translations. Links to everything I'm talking about, description down below. Again, check out the roster document if you're trying to keep these all in line and be able to find an easy place to do it. Like, subscribe, notifications if you have any questions to stay up to date. See you in the next one. Peace.